Let's kick things off with a question that's, well, it's probably the most important one for your career right now. In this world of AI, automation, and just constant change, what is it that's actually going to make you valuable?
Well, the answer, if we're looking at today's source material from Cal Newport's incredible book, is a skill that's becoming super rare. We're going to break down why deep work has pretty much become the new superpower for anyone who really wants to thrive. All right, let's get into it.
So to really get why deep work is such a big deal, we've got to first understand this huge shift that's happening in our economy. Some economists are even calling it the Great Restructuring.
And this quote from a couple of MIT economists, man, it just nails the problem, doesn't it? Technology is moving forward at this insane pace, and it's creating this huge, uncomfortable gap between what the machines can do and what most of us are actually trained to do.
Okay, so here's the thing you really need to get. That story you always hear about robots coming for all the jobs, it's just too simple. The real story is a bit more complicated and, honestly, a little scarier. Technology is acting like a massive sorting hat, dividing the workforce into two big groups: the people who are supercharged by technology and the people who are basically made irrelevant by it.
Right, so if there's this big divide, obviously some people are coming out on top. And the source material points to three specific groups who are set to win big time. So, who are they?
First, you've got your high-skilled workers. These are the folks who don't just put up with complex tech, they actually thrive on it. They can grab these complicated, intelligent machines and use them to get valuable results that other people just can't.
A perfect example? Someone like data wizard Nate Silver. His real magic isn't just that he's a smart guy. It's that he's mastered these incredibly difficult tools, like complex statistical software, to pull out predictions that are worth a fortune. For him, the machine isn't his replacement, it's his partner in crime.
Then you have the superstars. Technology and the internet have basically blown up the idea of a local market. A company in Ohio doesn't need the best programmer in Ohio anymore. They can hire one of the absolute best in the world. This creates these winner-take-all situations where the very best in any field can serve the whole planet and rake in most of the rewards.
And group number 3, well, that's the owners. Pretty straightforward. These are the people with the cash to pour into all this new tech that's shaking things up. Think about the venture capitalists funding the next big thing.
Okay, so let's be real. Unless you've got a couple $1,000,000 lying around, becoming an owner is probably a long shot for most of us. But those other two groups, the high-skilled worker and the superstar, that's a different story. They're accessible. So the real question is, how do you get there?
So what's the secret sauce here? What do the high-skilled worker and the superstar have in common? Turns out, when you boil it all down, thriving in this new economy really comes down to mastering just two core abilities.
And here they are. It's this simple. First, you've got to be able to master hard things and fast. Tech is always changing, so you have to be a quick learner. And second, knowing stuff isn't enough. You have to produce. You have to be able to turn what you know into real, valuable stuff and do it better and faster than anyone else.
And this is the kicker. These two absolutely crucial abilities, they aren't random talents you're just born with. Nope. They both spring from the exact same single underlying practice.
And that practice is deep work. And look, this isn't some fluffy self-help idea. It's actually backed by some really cool science about how our brains are wired to learn and perform at their absolute peak.
Okay, so let's tackle that first ability, mastering hard things. How in the world does just focusing, without any distractions, actually make you learn faster?
Well, it all comes down to this idea called deliberate practice. And this isn't just, messing around with something or casually reading. We're talking about intense, nonstop focus on one specific skill. It is the total opposite of trying to learn a new coding language while your phone is buzzing every 30 seconds.
And here's where it gets really mind-blowing, the biology of it all. When you're locked in with that intense focus, you're basically firing the same circuit of brain cells over and over. And that action triggers something called myelation, where these cells wrap layers of a fatty tissue called myelin around those neurons. It's like putting better insulation on a wire, making the signal travel way faster and cleaner. So yeah, deep focus literally builds you a faster, smarter brain.
All right, so deep work rewires your brain to learn faster. Got it. But what about that second piece, producing top-tier work? Why is being so distracted so devastating to the actual quality of what you make?
The key thing to understand here is an idea that researcher Sophie Leroy called attention residue. It's a simple idea, but wow, is it powerful. When you switch from one task to another, a piece of your brain doesn't come with you right away. It's still thinking about that last thing. That's the residue. And the more you switch, the more residue builds up, and the less brain power you have for what's right in front of you.
And this just shows you the stark difference. On one side, you've got deep work. All your mental horsepower is pointed in one direction, producing something clean and powerful. On the other side, that's shallow work, what most of us do all day. That quick check of your email or social media shatters your focus, leaving you to work with a fraction of your real intelligence. It's slower, weaker, and way more likely to have mistakes.
So all of this brings us to a super simple, but honestly a game-changing formula for how you should think about your own productivity.
It's this. High-quality work produced equals time spent times intensity of focus. Now, most of us, we obsess over that first part, right? Time spent. How can I work longer hours? How can I squeeze more into my day?
But the real secret, the thing that separates the good from the great, is that they obsess over the second part. They max out their intensity of focus through deep work. And by doing that, they can produce incredible things in way less time than their distracted coworkers. It's not about working more, it's about making your hours count for more.
So I want to leave you with this question. As you go through your day tomorrow, jumping between emails, meetings, and all those browser tabs, just ask yourself, am I just staying busy? Am I just performing busyness? Or am I actually doing the deep, focused work that builds real value and secures my future? The choice really is up to you.